Oh, we are live. Gotta go live after that. There are actually some positives about the game. If you guys aren't here, I'm gonna be honest. There are absolutely positives about this game. Like Caitlin, the problem is it's a make or miss sport. And had Caitlin just made a free throw, she was the hero. She hit two go-ahead threes in the last 3 minutes of a game that they had no right to win, and then got another steal for the go-ahead on Angel Wilson. Got a pick six on Angel Wilson. It was almost the perfect clutch performance. It was almost a perfect clutch performance, and heck, even a fucking brick shot instead of a pass would have been better. But sure, look, it happens. It happens. But yeah, like, it is a new day. It is a new day where we got to talk about some topics right here. So as soon as we get somebody into the chat, we will start talking. But yeah, this was an interesting one, and I think overall, I kind of hoped Indiana Fever come out stronger from this because the Sky are really good. Like, I don't really care what anyone says. The Sky are really good. They're like really, really good. But they're playing really well. Not really good. Two very different things. But yeah. But yeah, it is it was a big game there. It was a big game. But we're going to start off this stream by talking a little bit about the game. And this is normal. Players have bad spells. Players have bad stretches. Like, Angel Wilson no-showed a finals and became the GOAT. And everyone being like, oh, Angel Wilson, it doesn't matter if she no-showed the final, she got them there. Then it shouldn't matter that Caitlin Clark no-showed in the clutch because the only reason they were in the game was because of Caitlin Clark. It's kind of as simple as that. Like, they don't win the game if not for Caitlin. They're not in the game if not for Caitlin. But this was the worst clutch performance of her career, which immediately was right after what, until making 2 free throws, was the best clutch performance of her career. It just was. Even in overtime, up until that last possession, she was superb. She just played she's missed 2 free throws and then had a calamitously bad possession. This happens. Every player has gone through this. The problem is with Caitlin Clark is that I don't think people get it. That people will judge a regular season game in August as if it's game 7 of the finals. Why? Because she's the only thing people care about in this league. It's a fact. It is a fact. Caitlin is the only thing people care about in this entire league. And the league have done a really bad job of that. They have done a real bad job of making anybody else the story. Because if we're being real here, this shit happens. This happens. In game 1 of the finals last year, the Phoenix Mercury have a chance to steal a game in Vegas and get in complete control of the series. Alyssa Thomas on the free throw line. Tie game. Brick. Vegas go down and score. Or were they up? They might have been up 1. And she bricked 2. And they went down and scored. The whole final changed. And like the whole way the finals went changed. And the Mercury got swept. Nobody cared. We've seen Angel Wilson brick. Angel Wilson airball. She was superb in overtime. But she had multiple chances to tie or take the lead late in that game and missed them in regulation. We've seen Stewie in the WNBA finals, might I add, game 5. I know she hit the 2 free throws and sent it to overtime. What did she do when it was a tie game, 1 possession earlier, before she got bailed out by the referees? Brick. Everybody makes boneheaded plays. When that ball got thrown to Chelsea Gray, when the inbound pass was so badly thrown that even if Chelsea Gray had caught the ball, the Indiana Fever could have fouled her inside the 3-point line, and under no situation, even if she was shooting, do they lose the game. Aaliyah Boston gets a rush of blood to the head and bats the ball towards Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull's not watching the game, doesn't have any idea what's going on, and waits. And then Aaliyah, instead of running out to Chelsea Gray, runs towards Lexi Hull and leaves Chelsea Gray wide open. It happens. It's basketball. It all happens. Kelsey Mitchell against Chicago Sky earlier in the year. They're up 3 with 6 seconds to go. The ball gets inbounded to Kelsey rather than Caitlin. She didn't even get to shoot the free throws because she literally ran past the ball, fumbled it, the Sky get it, and on the defensive possession, Raven Johnson gets subbed in for defense, and Raven and Kelsey fuck up a communication and leave Sky wide open. It happens. It's basketball. It is basketball. And I don't get why people are don't understand. It's basketball. It's a long season. The season lasts 44 games. A random game doesn't matter. A random game, especially when the regular season title means nothing, does not matter. Manuel Neuer is the greatest goalkeeper of all time. We've seen him drop balls into his net. We've seen Cristiano Ronaldo miss a penalty in a Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich in extra time when they would have destroyed Chelsea in the final. We saw Arjen Robben in the final miss a penalty in extra time that would have won them the game against Chelsea. All of these things happen in sports. Kelsey Mitchell missed the free throw too. She literally missed the free throw too. Let's not forget the only reason why Caitlin Clark got free throws in the first place is because Kelsey Mitchell missed the free throw. Everything in this game, there's stuff that happens in basketball. They all happen. There has never been a team or an individual that has been under this type of microscope. And that includes LeBron James. That includes LeBron. No one gave a flying fuck in 2016 when the LeBron James Cavs lost by 40 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Heck, nobody, people cared more about this than people cared about the Aces losing by 53 points last year. The Aces lost, by the way, and it wasn't just they lost by 53 points. 2 games earlier, they lost by 30 to the Lynx. They lost to the Lynx by combined 83 points in a week. And you know what? People don't care. Why? Because you're expecting teams to bounce back. There is talk about, okay, what's happened to this team? What's happened to this team? Can they figure it out? Is it done? Not, this team's terrible. Angel Wilson's actually terrible. She's the worst player in the world. They should trade Angel Wilson and run through Chelsea Gray or run through Jackie Young. It's weird. It's just weird. And I'm someone who's followed all aspects of basketball. And the last time I can remember this happening is like every single playoff performance from LeBron James prior to winning his first title. After 2011, that entire 2012 playoff run, before the Boston Celtics game, was every bad performance he played was a big thing. But people didn't care about the regular season like this. Look, the regular season doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. As long as you don't, as long as you are not 8th, unironically, the Indiana Fever are probably in a better position now. And I'm not saying they should have lost the game, but they're in a better position now than it would be if they won. You are better off to be 6, 7, 2, or 3 than you are to be 4 or 5. You don't want to face Minnesota. I know they lost last night to the Sparks. You don't want to face them in the playoffs. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You do not want to face the Minnesota Lynx in the playoffs. They are going to beat you. Someone just said Jackie Young giving Caitlin Clark 19 points. Caitlin Clark did not guard Jackie Young for one possession in the first half yesterday. She did not. You mean Kelsey Mitchell was guarding Jackie Young? Like, that's exactly it. That's exactly the point I'm making. That is exactly the point I'm making. A player who Caitlin Clark did not guard for one possession during the run. Caitlin Clark is being blamed for her defense. Caitlin Clark was guarding, during that run, she was guarding Jewel Lloyd with 0 points. I admit it. 2 of the turnovers led to fast break layups for Jackie Young. I'll admit that. You can blame Caitlin Clark for 4 of those points. You can blame Caitlin for 4 of them. I admit that. But yeah, I'm just going to get rid of everybody here that's not even just willing to have a proper conversation because I just don't. I'm just not arsed. But yeah, it's one of those things where, look, this happens. What percentage blame do you give for Caitlin? You give Caitlin, realistically, 50% of the blame for yesterday's game. Like, she single-handedly got them back in the game, but also almost single-handedly lost in the game. You have to give Steph White some blame because Steph White is the main reason that they lost that 20-point lead in the first half. Lexi Hall can't play basketball. Aaliyah Boston, Russia Blood, I don't think people don't, Aaliyah was super in overtime. I don't think people understand how bad Aaliyah Boston was in that last defensive possession. She batted the ball for no reason, batted the ball towards the 3-point line. She's in a position there where even Ace is getting the ball inside the 2 is better than anything. If you're smart and you're not able to catch it, you just bat the ball straight up. You don't bat it towards the 3-point line. And then runs towards the ball to leave Chelsea Gray wide open. At the same time, Aaliyah Boston was the main reason they nearly won OT. Kelsey Mitchell missed the free throw. But Kelsey was super in overtime. Lexi Hull was just bad all around, but she wasn't on the floor in overtime, so you can't blame anything for Lexi Hull in OT. Caitlin Clark got them back into it and missed the free throws and threw a incredibly dumb turnover. KK Timpson had a chance to ice the game and she shit herself. Instead of taking a power dribble in for an open layup, she waited 2 seconds and went to AJ Wilson. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's basketball. It happens, and you hope that the Indiana Fever bounce back better from this. You just do. Because if they don't bounce back better from this, that's it. If the Indiana Fever fall to 7 or 8, you give up on the roster. Straight up, because you don't have the cap flexibility to deal with anything. You give up on the roster to the extent that you trade Caitlin Clark. Probably, if they fall, you probably give up on the Caitlin Clark experiment because you don't want to max out Caitlin. If the Indiana Fever implode and fall to 7 or 8, Caitlin Clark's just not who we think she is. And if you're the Indiana Fever, you trade her. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Indiana Fever are going to continue to be a good team. But we'll see. I don't think that's the case, but if it is the case, then shit, maybe you trade Caitlin. Because she's about to trigger a max. But at the same time, yeah, Caitlin Clark taking full blame for that game. And you know what? Rightfully so. Because regardless of every other mistake everyone made, if she just hits a free throw, it's over. And even the late game turnover, that shit can always happen. Steph should have called a timeout. There were flaws there. But she just makes a free throw, it's over. It is what it is. And people are mentioning this player, and I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, I'm sorry. People are saying if Lexi Hull could consistently score 6 to 8 points a game, if he were the 1 seed. Like, I don't know what she does. I don't know what she does. It is as simple as that. I don't know what she does. Does she play defense? And the problem is, she's still playing 15, 20 minutes a game. There's no, like, she has 10 points combined. She's averaging 2.5 points per game over the last 4. 2.5 points per game. She's had more games this season where she's had more fouls than points than she's had 10-point games. Like, she has 5 10-point games on the season. I think she has 7 games with more fouls than points. She has she had a stretch where she was averaging 9 points per game over 4 games, and the Fever won 3 out of 4. I wonder, like, what is her points per game in losses? 9 or 4.5. Under 4. She got 5 in a loss, 2 in a loss, 0 in a loss, 9 in a loss, 2 in a loss. In fairness, she had 14 in a loss against LA. And then, again, 2 in a loss, 6 in a loss, 1 in a loss. Like, she's averaging about 3 points per game in losses. And like, what's she averaging against playoff teams? Which is an interesting one. So, against playoff teams, 4.5. Again, just over 4.5. Just over that. And 2, 0, 9. 2, 6, 1. 8. Is 8 her season? 9 is her season high against a playoff team. No, say 10. She's had 10 points. And that was a blowout game without Angel Wilson. That was a blowout without Angel Wilson when it was a bench v bench. She has scored double digits once against a playoff team. Like, that is concerning. That is concerning if you're Lexi Hull. And the problem is, if you say, oh, you can't judge her defensive or her offensive numbers, but like, she's meant to be a defensive player. She is the worst defensive player on this team. No question about it. She is the worst defensive player on the Indiana Fever. And it's so funny. Anytime I make a negative video about Lexi, I'll lose 10 subscribers. Like, I've lost 53 subscribers yesterday. I've lost 30 today. Yes, because you gain someone, lose somebody. You see that. Like, at what point do we just come out there and say, like, she's just not good enough, and the Fever have to get off her? I don't think people get it. If Lexi Hull and Monique Billings stay on this team, the Fever can't afford Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Like, the more they play her, it feels like the more they're going to have to attach to get off her contract. Like, I was seeing all these things about how, all of these things about how Lexi Hull is untouchable in trade talks. About how they're going to keep the core 4 together. What are we talking about core 4? She's terrible. If Lexi Hull's in your core 4, you're not a serious basketball team. At least other teams that have players similar standard to Lexi Hull that are in the rotation are on minimum contracts. She's not as good as Stephanie Talbot. She's not as good as Beck Allen. They're on minimums. They're on minimums. It is the worst contract in the league. Katie Lou Samuelson is playing better than Lexi Hull right now. She's off an ACL. And Katie Lou is playing better than her. She is one of the highest paid wings in the league. I want to see, is there, like, what wings are getting paid more than her in the league? Let's look at a average year by year. So, what wings are getting paid more? as in like threes. Bridget Carlton on a max. You know what? You could pay Bridget Carlton 3 max contracts and she'd still be outperforming. Bridget Carlton, who's averaging 17 points per game and still 100 times better on defense. Gabby Williams, maybe the depoy. Alicia Gray, all-star. Copper, all-star. Kayla McBride, snubbed of an all-star, but an all-star. Marina Mabry, okay, scorer. Sykes, at least plays defense, but got injured. Was going to be an all-star. Atkins, okay, Atkins has been not great for 1.1 million. The fact 1.1 over 3 is a bad contract, but still, at least she's going to give you double digits. At least she's going to do it. At least she's going to give you double digit points. Kennedy Burke, 1 year contract. Still better than Lexi. Maybe Satu's a worse contract than Lexi. But like, Lexi Hull's getting paid more than Kayla Thornton. Kayla Thornton was an all-star last year. She was an all-star. Michaela Onyeawere is so much better than Lexi. I can't believe I'm saying that she's better than Lexi. Kyla Charles is way better than Lexi. She's on significantly less money. Tip Hayes is on significantly less money. I know she's older. She's better. Janelle is on... I know she was reserved, so it doesn't really count. Ayayi, you could have brought in Vala Ayayi as your starting small forward. And like that's a 1 seed. Like if they didn't fuck up the mobility because of how well KK's playing, if they didn't fuck up the Lexi Hull contract, you're looking at this team potentially being able to build into a contender or into a top team in the league. Because by all accounts, V wants to leave Minnesota. They're there for the taking. But the problem is that at the taking up $800K salary cap room next season is a player who doesn't shoot, doesn't defend, is a decent rebounder from a wing, can't dribble, doesn't create her own shot, is like not a good off-ball defender anymore, is foul prone. It doesn't pass well. Like, she's not even cutting like she used to. And I get it. Lexi Hull, great human. Her effort will never be questioned. But I'm sorry, when your contract goes up, when you're making 80, 90K, when you're shoved on the end of the bench for Christy Wallace, and you're coming in and giving 100% effort, diving on balls, the way the game is being refereed suits your style of play, everything. It's easy to get behind that player. It's easy to get behind a player who is shoved on the end of the bench for an inferior player, who's coming out there giving their all, diving on loose balls, hitting big shots. But like, even in 2024, she wasn't stepping up. Like, in the playoffs, she was terrible. Coming up to the playoffs, she was terrible. She had a 5-game hot streak. Like, it's really, really... Someone said she can't create her own shot and terrify me when she dribbles. Yes. Like, it's really easy to get behind the underpaid hustle player who's not making a lot of money and still puts their body on the line, who'll play through everything, who'll give her all for the team. I get all of that. And when it comes to Lexi Hull, all of that is still there. The problem is, when you are no longer that underpaid hustle player and you become one of the worst contracts in the league, there is a different expectation on you. And when you combine that with her worst season of the last 3, that is a problem. Like, that is a big problem. And as well, not necessarily her fault, the rules changed from under her. The way the game was refereed changed from under her. And now it's at the stage where the game is being refereed differently. Everything about it is not to the benefit of Lexi Hull. And we're looking at her now as, I don't care about what any stats are concerned, the worst starter in the league. Because if you saw yesterday, was she trusted to guard Jackie Young at any stage in the game? No. Against Minnesota, was she trusted to guard Courtney Williams or Olivia Miles? No. No. They had her guarding Kayla McBride, who was standing in the corner. She no longer is even being trusted to guard the other team's best players. Caitlin Clark is taking tougher defensive matchups in a lot of games than Lexi Hall. She didn't last night. But still, honestly, Chelsea Gray versus Jewel Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd is equally as tough a defensive matchup. But she did take Steph Talbot. She's no longer even being trusted to take defensive matchups because teams know she can't play defense. And if she comes in the game for defensive possessions, and the Fever concede every single time. Like, she comes in and they concede every single fucking time. Like, it's a disappointing one if you're looking at, if you're watching Lexi play, because, look, she's somebody that we all got behind. We all wanted to get behind. Because she was the underpaid player. She had a coach pushing her to the end of the bench, and she was way better than that. Because you can be that hustle player. The problem is now, is the expectation for her is different, and the expectation for the Fever is different. When you're a team, when you are this up-and-coming, scrappy team pushing for the playoffs, then your flaws and deficiencies can be looked past. When you are a team whose next step is to win a title, and we can question whether or not the Fever are good enough for that, I still think that they are the second best team in the league. We saw it last night. I thought the Fever were complete and utter dog shit last night. And they still should have won that game. Like, when it comes down to it, they're not going to be, like, there's no world in which Fever should have lost that game yesterday. They nearly stole a game from Minnesota. This is a team, we saw it. They were up 2 at the end of the first quarter, and they went up 25 minutes in. There are no teams that can, when the Fever are in a flow state, they are unguardable. So I still put them in contenders. You can take them out of that if you want, but I still put them in there. The problem is there is a different expectation now, and Lexi Hull brings nothing. She brings, at this stage, I think you need to start Raven. If you don't want to start Sophie and you like Sophie off the bench, start Raven. Start Raven, because she doesn't rebound well enough for it to be a size issue. Like, start Raven. Because they got to do something. They got to do something. Genuinely, they got to do something, because Lexi's just not, straight up, just not good enough. She's not playing well enough. And maybe she'll figure it out at some stage in the year, because, look, I think even if you get 2025 Lexi Hull back, I don't think that's good enough to be a starter on a championship winning team. The problem is that we don't even have pre-Olympics 2024 Lexi Hull right now. Yeah. But yeah. Oh. Really 2024 Lexi, like. I'm not gonna lie, at least one thing is for sure, that we can't see Stephanie. Like, Stephanie can't do it again. Like, I made a video on this. When did it come out? When did this video come out? I think the video came out 2 days ago? 2 nights ago? So 2 nights ago, I made a video titled Stephanie White needs to stop doing this with Caitlin Clark. And as you guys can see, 37 more subscribers than I have now. 37 more. If you guys don't know, I went up to 3 subscribers off 61.2k, and we've lost 8. We've gained some, and we went back down to this, and we went up, and we went down. I've lost over 200 subscribers in the last 5 days. But I made a video talking about this 3 days ago. Or 2 days ago, Jesus. And it is talking about how Stephanie White needs to stop taking off Caitlin for defense. And if you guys didn't see yesterday, even after Caitlin missed the free throws, when she got pulled out of that game, for defense. Stephanie White comes out of the game. Caitlin Clark came out of that game arguing with Stephanie. Caitlin Clark, 2 possessions previously, in the biggest defensive possession of the year, locked up Chelsea Gray, got switched on to Jackie Young, locked up Jackie Young, and then locked up Aja Wilson on the perimeter and got called for a nonsense foul, stopping Aja Wilson getting to the basket. Perfect defense. Caitlin Clark also got a pick 6 on Aja Wilson to win the game. She was the best defensive player on the Indiana Fever. She was the best defensive player on the Indiana Fever yesterday down the stretch. And she got pulled. And what happens, like every single time Caitlin Clark gets pulled for defensive reasons, they concede. The only positive I can really take out of this game is that if Steph continues to do this, I mean, you can put on the tinfoil hat for sabotage. They concede 80% of the time they sub off Caitlin Clark. Not only that, do you know, with the Fever up by 2 points or more since Stephanie White has been coaching down the stretch, the Fever have conceded every single time Caitlin has been subbed off for defense. Sorry, up by 1 point or more. Up by 1 point or more, or tied. I can't. I'm wrong with this. There was a stat that we had last year. I think it was a tie game or up. And the Fever need a stop. They conceded every single time. And off the top of my head, they have conceded. I think they got one stop today when they were up 2. And then they conceded when they were up 3. But I think it was something like last year, if it was a tie game, or they just needed a stop, or they were up, they conceded every single possession. They subbed Caitlin Clark off for defense. I think this year, they were up 3 against Chicago Sky and conceded a 3. Like, if nothing else, Caitlin Clark would have been smart enough to foul Jackie Young. Like, if nothing else, she would have been smart enough to foul her. She would have been smart enough to foul Jackie. Whereas Lexi just wasn't. She was clueless. She had no idea. And it's a bad sign for the Indiana Fever. This is not me pretending that Caitlin Clark is some exceptional defender. This is not me pretending that Caitlin is this brilliant defender or anything. It is really bad for Amber Cox and Kelly Krauskopf that Caitlin Clark is the best perimeter defender on this team. Caitlin is the best perimeter defender on this team, and it's not by an insignificant amount. We saw when Olivia Miles down the stretch got Caitlin Clark on an island, and she couldn't do anything. We saw Jackie Young today. We saw what Aja Wilson did yesterday. She is the best perimeter defender on this team when she fully locks in. You can talk about for me, the offensive load is too much. You're never going to get full lock in on defense. It happens. She's not prime LeBron James. She's not like even Shea guards the worst player on the other team. But when it's time to lock in, Shea locks in. I'm not saying she's a Shea level defender. But what I'm saying is that she is she's a 7 out of 10 defender when she locks in. The Fever doesn't have another perimeter defender above a 5 out of 10. I think Raven will eventually be that. She's not right now. She's too foul prone. She's too kind of frantic with everything. She's just not that right now. I think she will be, if she's not traded by then. The Indiana Fever, if anything, people are saying they take Caitlin Clark out of games for defense to make her look bad. If anything, it's making Caitlin look good because they keep conceding. The Indiana Fever are like 5 points per 100% possessions better on defense with Caitlin Clark on the floor. I don't think people truly understand. She has been statistically the best perimeter defender on this team. On this team. She's been their best perimeter defender. And even if you want to say, oh, she's not brilliant, I agree with that. She's a better defender than Sophie Cunningham. She's a better defender than Lexi Hull. Someone said they don't trust she won't foul. You want her to foul. You're up 3. You want her to foul. Like, fouling was the best thing. If nothing else, that last possession with Aja Wilson, where she grabs Aja's jersey and then Aja shoves her off and hits the deck, it's an offensive foul. It's an offensive foul. Even if it's given as a transition take foul, anything to stop the clock. She did. She fouled. You want her to foul in that scenario. When you're up by 3, you want her to foul. It is scary. It is annoying. It is annoying that Kelly Krauskopf and Amber Cox have put together this team. And it's annoying Stephanie White just keeps doing this. She keeps doing it. How many times are they going to have to lose a game in the clutch or have a game get sent to overtime? This feels like the first time they've well and truly lost it. There have been games where where they've conceded, but then Caitlin Clark went and bailed them out against Washington. They conceded against Chicago up 3. Caitlin Clark bailed them out in overtime. Even then when they conceded against Washington, the first time Caitlin Clark bailed them out with a fadeaway game-tying 3. Unironically, they haven't been punished for this so far because every single time Caitlin has bailed them out. Unfortunately, Caitlin did the opposite of bail them out this time because she choked, she threw it away. But every single time she makes this mistake, Caitlin bails them out. And unfortunately, yesterday, Caitlin was not able to bail Stephanie White out again. But Steph needs to just stop doing this. She needs to stop doing this. And it is horrendous. It's horrendous coaching when, based on every metric, every eye test, the eye test tells you it doesn't work. The metrics tell you over the course of a season that subbing Caitlin Clark for defense doesn't work. And also, given the fact that, I'm going to be real here, in clutch situations, teams normally shoot below their averages. Teams seem to score every single clutch possession on the Indiana Fever. Every single one. Other than when the Atlanta Dream choked in the playoffs last year, this season and last season, teams scored on every single clutch possession against your team. Because you keep taking out, again, I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is a brilliant defender. She's the best of a bad bunch. But you keep taking out your best defender. Your best defender for clutch possessions. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it's just Stephanie White. Look, I don't think she's a championship coach. I think this is a dynasty starts without you. I think she's a much better coach than Chrissy Sides. To give her credit for that, I think she's a real coach. She's a decent coach. I think you need a Becky Hammon, you need a Cheryl Reeve, to win a title, or you need to have a team that's so much better than everybody else, like the New York Liberty with Sandy Brandello, who's not a championship coach either. You need one of them. And I just don't. She's just not it. And I don't know where you find it because you're not prying either of them out of their teams. Yeah. Sides has a locker room, so does Stephanie. I have no doubt about it. Stephanie has a locker room, but still, she's got to stop doing this. I got to be real here. We got to talk about this, though, if we're being real. There is no player that should be more happy that Caitlin Clark exists than Paige Bueckers. Paige Bueckers has basically played drunk since the All-Star break. I don't think people quite get this. Paige Bueckers has been potentially the third best player on her own team post All-Star break. And she has somehow gone up in the MVP voting. Because nobody cares. Nobody cares. This isn't even a knock on Paige Bueckers. Nobody cares. If a player chokes a game in the woods and no one's there to see it, do they really choke? That's the real That's the real question. If you guys don't know, like, the Minnesota Lynx just threw away a game against a team trying to lose. Like, the LA Sparks are trying to lose. They blew a double-digit halftime lead against a team who, I repeat, are trying to lose. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. At all. The Dallas Wings blew a 20-point lead, and not in the second quarter, with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. They were up 11 points with 3 minutes to go in the game, or 4 minutes to go in the game, and lost. And 2 games before that, were up 6 points with 45 seconds to go and lost. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. That is the problem. Is that Caitlin Clark, like, nobody should be more happy. And it's the same with Sabrina. Sabrina stunk it up for most of the season. And nobody cares. You have that dumbass Emmanuel Acho. And it's so funny, like, I've seen people being like, I've actually seen, I can't find a tweet. So it was someone in the media said there's a reason why we don't, why Caitlin Clark's not at the level of Paige Bueckers or Olivia Miles. Do you know who missed 2 free throws to win a game? When you were up 3. Do you know who missed 2 free throws up 3 in a game? Paige Bueckers against Indiana. Olivia Miles again. Her team just choked a game against a team that are trying to lose. Paige Bueckers has been drunk since the All-Star break. But no one cares. Nobody cares. Caitlin Clark, it is literally judged by these players. I've said it for a while. These players are not seen as players. They are seen as obstacles to Caitlin. They are seen as, they're better than Caitlin. These people don't watch any of their games. They literally don't watch their games. And that's not me saying that I don't have Olivia Miles above Caitlin Clark in the MVP race at this stage. I think it's damn close. I have Kelsey Mitchell above Caitlin Clark in the MVP race. I think it's a very, very tight one. But I think Paige is a tier below, is a tier below them. Nobody gives a flying fuck, and I don't mean random people on Twitter. I mean the actual media. I need to find this tweet. Someone hired by one of the big media firms said this is why this is why Caitlin Clark is not at the level of Olivia Miles or Paige Bueckers. Caitlin Clark had 10 fourth quarter points. She hit back-to-back go-ahead threes. She hit 3 in the last 3 minutes of the game. She hit 3 go-ahead shots. Yes, she choked, but Paige wouldn't have taken the shots. They would have, if you replace Caitlin Clark for Paige Bueckers, they lose that game by 10. No one's talking about her being unclutched because they lose the game by 10 points. Like, it is what it is. Olivia Miles, I mean, Olivia Miles definitely doesn't do what Caitlin Clark does at the end of the game. She takes A'ja Wilson on and worst case scenario gets swatted by A'ja Wilson. Olivia Miles definitely doesn't do what Caitlin Clark does at the end of the game. I'll give Olivia Miles credit for that. But nobody cares, man. It is one of these things where it's like the Alyssa Thomas situation where she basically said, if I elbow a player, if I punch a player in the neck and nobody sees it, that I really punch a player in the neck. It's like, if a player chokes and nobody's there to see, did they really choke? That's the real question about these other players. That is the real question. Like, why? Someone said, I hate Angel. I never mentioned Angel Reese. Unironically, Angel Reese is incredibly clutch. Like, Angel Reese has been incredibly clutch for her entire career. Even in Chicago, she's been incredibly clutch. Don't get that twisted. Whatever you want to say about Angel Reese, her lowlights look horrendous. But she's probably making an all-W team. And she's been incredibly clutch. I don't love what Angel Reese, I don't love Angel Reese every 2 seconds trying to play victim for random things. One day it's, I grew up playing with Barbies, this is an honor. And the next day it's, I never actually played with dolls because they didn't look like me. I don't love that, but I'm a big fan of Angel Reese, the basketball player. Always have been. But Yeah, like, let's be real. Other players are allowed to have meltdowns. Other players are allowed to choke game after game after game after game after game. No one cares. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Chokes only matter if it's Caitlin. Blowing a game only matters if it's Caitlin. Making a bad defensive read only matters when it's Caitlin. It's as simple as that. Because this is 80% of WNBA fans. 80% of fans watching WNBA fans, and it's shown by the amount of people that watch Fever games, are either people that only watch Caitlin Clark or only watch to shit on Caitlin Clark. Like, you can't try to tell me that that's not the truth. Because I genuinely think if you asked most people, I'm not directly covering the WNBA, most people in the general media that are covering the WNBA, that are shitting on Caitlin Clark right now and hyping up Paige Bueckers, to name 3 players on Paige Bueckers' teams. And they're going to get AZ, they're going to get Arike, and they probably won't even know what Arike's surname is, but they'll know Arike, and that's it. That's all they're getting. Like, I can guarantee you that. Like, and I'm not talking about, like, we all know the non-basketball people, the people that, like, just don't like to talk basketball. And we know the people that, we know the basketball people that have a basketball bias against Caitlin, and that's fine. Like, it's annoying, but that's fine. Like, the UConn Mafia, because Caitlin doesn't play the game like Gina Oriema wants people to play the game, and Gina Oriema is gospel and all that shit, and if you don't do it to UConn, well, you're doing it wrong. Like, as annoying as that is, I don't think there's malice there on a personal level. But, like, and I'm not saying that they don't know the players. Like, I'll never question whether a Swing Cash knows ball. Like, it's just can be a little bit annoying. But at the end of the day, like, if we're out here having discussions on choking, which we should be, by the way, because Caitlin Clark choked. Like, Caitlin Clark choked. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, we have been watching 2 of the 3 best guards choke games away. We've watched some choke games. Like, it is what it is. We have watched some choke game. We have watched everyone choke games away. But yeah, it is what it is. Paige, you should be delighted. You should absolutely be delighted. Guys like Venom and KDV cause a lot of hate for Caitlin. Like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Like, I don't watch either of them. I don't know anything. There's some weird takes with them, like Caitlin Clark being robbed for player of the month despite not playing for the first week of the month, and then playing on averaging 12 points per game on a massive minutes restriction for the second week of the month. I don't get that, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But this is one thing you like to see, though. This is one thing you like to see. Post here, someone working at the gym. Nobody's pretending it didn't happen. We all know exactly why they lost. And so does she. My uncle just texted me to say she's still in the gym shooting, and he can't go home until everybody's out. It's just him, her, and her bodyguards. She knows we all know, and the aces better know it. So they asked his coach, did we see them in the playoffs again? And this is the best thing that you want to see from a player in this scenario. It really is. Like, there is where's the Wilson thing? Where is it actually? 1 second. Have you ever seen the Wilson commercial with Caitlin, where it's basically her just in a gym by herself shooting, and people saying she stays after bad games? Nothing's changed. There's a bit of a difference here. There's a bit of a difference where if you've seen the Wilson commercial, it's her shooting in a gym by herself, nothing else around. And she's talking about like, basically at the end of the day, it's the same as when you were a kid. It's just you and a basketball. It's just you and a basketball. And that's what you want to see. Because realistically, that's how you can move on. Because Caitlin knows she lost that game. Like, it is what it is. Like, it happens. Every single MVP level player has lost a has been the reason why they've lost a regular season game. And people say she did it her rookie season too. No. In her rookie season, she had Connor McCaffrey out. She had Connor McCaffrey out there rebounding and she was working on her shot. If you're a basketball player, you don't go by yourself to work out. If you're working out or doing a shooting workout, you're not there by yourself. If you are on the floor by yourself shooting, you're doing that to clear your head. You're doing that to clear your head, to remember why you're here, to remember how you got to that position, and to not get over those games, because that's the way you want to be. Because you can shoot Caitlin Clark can shoot 1,000 free throws. She probably shoots 95% from free throws in practice. Shooting 1,000 free throws is not going to make or make them at the end of the game. Shooting 1,000 3-point shots is not going to make or make them. No amount of workouts are going to change the bad decision that she made. To pass that ball to KK. At the end of the day, it's not it says she missed 2 wide open threes, now missed 2 free throws. I mean, she missed 2 threes with a minute and a half to go in the game. To make it a 2-point game instead of a 5-point game? Like, they're very different circumstances, and they were both deep threes on the move. But at the end of the day, this is what you want to see, because there's no practice when it comes to Caitlin Clark that's going to affect anything she does on the floor. There's no amount of going out there and taking 1,000 free throws and I'm going to shoot, I'm going to work on this. Because at the end of the day, like, that's, for me, that feels like, when I've seen players do that, I've coached at a decent level. Like, when you see players almost attempt to punish themselves for bad performances, it doesn't end well. And staying in a gym by yourself, dribbling a basketball, getting shots up is, if nothing else, for almost every basketball player I know, when you're going to a gym by yourself to get shots up, or going out in your backyard to get shots up past a certain age, you're doing it as much as anything to clear your head, to forget about things, and just kind of get yourself ready for the next game. Because as badly as what Caitlin Clark did yesterday was, it's the WNBA. You have to go and play on Saturday. You play the Chicago Sky on Saturday. And losing that, if you beat Chicago, you're in the exact same position. So, look, when it comes to it, is it a good sign? Is it a bad sign the Fever are losing pretty much every game against playoff teams? Yeah. It's not an ideal scenario. But, that being said, it's not a bad sign that they've stunk it up for 2 games and nearly beat the 2 best teams in the league. And the top 2 seeds. They've stunk it up against both of them, and they've nearly beat them both. Like, the Indiana Fever go to 4. If they just pull that off, they go 4th seed, and a game off Golden State. It's kind of blew it. I think they're pretty much they might be out of the top 3 scenario, but someone says Sydney Taylor entered the chat. I think Sydney Taylor is a prime example of everything. Like, she's she missed, her first 3 attempts at a game winner, then hit a game winner to beat the Aces. But she had the balls to keep taking them. And this is what you want to see. This is genuinely what you want to see here. You want to see, at the end of the day, you want to see a player that's not going to let it affect them, but that's not going to, for lack of a better word, fucking punish themselves for a loss, punish themselves for regular season games, because you're not, that is what mentally weak players do. And I have no question about it that Caitlin Clark has dealt with the pressure of the world in all these scenarios. She has dealt with the pressure of the world on her for years. This is not the low point of her career. It's not even close to it. She has bounced back from 100 times worse performances. And let's be real, had she made one of those free throws, she's the hero. So it happens. And I have no doubt about it, she's going to step up against Chicago. But yeah, a bit of a tough one there, and it's kind of look, it is what you want to see. It's what you want to see from a player. You want to see someone that their goal is clear the head and lock in for Saturday. Because fans are the ones to overreact to games. That happens. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with fans overreacting. It happens. That's the way fans are. You want players to be goldfish. You want them to not fully forget about plays, not fully forget about the games, but you don't want it to affect them negatively, especially when you're an MVP level player. Especially when you're an MVP level player. But yeah, look, a bad game, a horrendous last 5 seconds of regulation and last 15 seconds of overtime. But it is what it is. See you guys. Did I say Enes Kanter? Did Enes Kanter just declare for the WNBA draft? What?
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing.
I know we X'd out Nike instead of just getting rid of it. You can buy WNBA hoodies without Nike. The one I own doesn't have it.
Framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Oh, my God. So, obviously, in their guidelines, does it literally only say self-identification? Oh, my God. It's actually real. It's actually real. Is it actually a thing? No team's ever going to sign Enes Kanter, even if that's the case. They're just not going to do it. But are the rules that flimsy? I thought there would be the same previous Olympic rules where it's like 2 years of hormone replacement and like constant tests to make sure you haven't broke it. I thought that was going to be the rule. If it's literally self-identification, I mean, he's done nothing wrong, has he? And like they say, he's obviously he's not draft eligible. For lack of a better way of describing it, he's not draft eligible. And he's not, obviously, Enes Kanter is not going to the WNBA. Like, he's obviously not. The problem is they might have some very flimsy eligibility criteria that might make him technically eligible as long as he says he self-identifies as a woman. But like, I mean, Enes Kanter is Enes Kanter, I guess. Like, if you know with Enes Kanter, this is not a surprise that he's come out with this. This is not a surprise at all. But like, he's not going to be in the league, even if technically he's eligible, which is kind of mad. And if we're being honest about the Julie Tatar situation, everyone's like, oh, she's in the French second tier. No, it's Julie Tatar's first year playing pro after playing pre-transition at a lower level than me, and then transitioned and immediately went pro, and is averaging 20 and 20. She could walk in. She would be the leading rebounder in the top league in France. She would be a WNBA rotational, or like an end-of-bench WNBA level player. But like, it's one of those things now where if you are the league, I don't know what exactly you do in this scenario. I don't know exactly what you do. Do you have to change the rules? And it might take an Enes Kanter type situation, like, to change the rules. And I don't know what way they do. Do they go, will they go? Will they go full Olympic rules? Will they go previous Olympic rules where 2 years of hormone replacement? I have no idea. Like, I have no idea. But in fairness, if, like, again, the X amount there, I don't know what the science is behind X amount of year, how much of the performance dip, and is there a biological advantage after a certain amount of years of hormone replacement? I don't know. I really don't know, and I'm not pretending to be a scientist there. But obviously, Enes Kanter would drop 80 points per game in the WNBA. Like, let's be very clear. If Enes Kanter put on a wig, he would average 80 points per game in the WNBA. So I'm saying no trans players in the WNBA. I agree this is not an issue. But like, the problem is it could be made an issue. And it's, for me anyway, it's one of those things where it's like, I think they're with with a lot of mental health, with the basically mental health crisis that's going on in the world right now. And then like how many like guys that play D1 college and don't make it with severe mental health issues will basically give up their life because they're to try and make it. I don't know, but it's like, I don't think this is not an issue now. It's not an issue now. It might be an issue in the future. At the end of the day, the WNBA are going to have to change some eligibility criteria. And it's not just going to be self-identification. Like, if that is the truth, that criteria is going to change. It's as simple as that. If we're being real, Kanter's not, like, Enes Kanter's doing this to make a mockery of the league. He's not doing this specific thing for any, like, you know, for any, like, good intentions. He doesn't. Like, this exact tweet is just there to make a mockery of the WNBA. We can be real here. And I think Coco Gauff probably gave the best response we've seen about that. we've seen so far, where she basically, because tennis have their testing policy, and then Coco Gauff has said, I understand the reasoning behind it. I do think this kind of conversation created a lot more animosity towards trans community, which I actually agree with, which I'm not really a big fan of, but I also understand the need to, I guess, the biological difference, the need to protect that and preserve that. I guess it's kind of trying to protect fairness in women's sports. I also don't like the attack it's creating, people who don't really care but just want to use it as an excuse to attack the trans community. I'm not really a big fan of that either. I agree. Coco Gauff, I think, gave the best. I think she said exactly, like, the content of what she said was basically what Sophie Cunningham said, but she said it in a better way. Like, the point she made probably came out better than what Sophie Cunningham said. But I gotta be real here. Like, there's no, like, this is probably the best way somebody can push it, because, again, if you are, like, Enes Kanter, it appears that he's trying to make a mockery towards the league and possibly make it a mockery towards trans people in general. And yeah, nothing's going to be done by this. Nothing's going to come from this. But at some stage, if the eligibility rule is literally just self-identification, yeah, that eligibility rule is going to change. That eligibility rule is going. If that is all it takes to be eligible, it's going to change. Let's be very, very clear. Like, that is absolutely going to change. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But so yeah, fans getting kicked out of the game is a normal Indiana Fever occurrence. It is a normal Indiana Fever occurrence. And if you guys think this is all ridiculous, subscribe. We have currently lost, I think, 6 subscribers since we have started this stream. We're trying to not drop below 61.1k in the next, like, hour after this stream, but it's probably going to happen. So let's try to stay above 61k ideally. Stay above 61k ideally. But yeah, so during the game, apparently fan was chirping with Jackie Young, and it took like 3 minutes out of the game. But so you can see here, it took like 3 minutes out of the game. Security took people out, and they got rid of 2 people. Apparently, the people that they ejected from the game were the wrong people. Apparently, they ejected the wrong people out of the game. And then the fan who actually was shit-talking Jackie Young just left. Just literally walked out. But yeah, like, so following report of a comment made direct towards a player, arena staff security spoke with the fan involved and witnesses. Security determined there was no violation of fan code of conduct. The fan was not removed from the arena but elected to leave. We consider this matter closed. At the end of the day, a fan was shit-talking Jackie Young. Like, that's really what it came down to. And even Jackie Young came out and said, hey, what you call it? That the fan was chirping and said something too far. If I'm being real, the wrong fan they removed was originally let back in, yeah. And then the actual fan did it, just left on their own accord. Left, like, if it was anything real bad, as in real bad, Jackie Young would have said it publicly, because there's no... You know what? Maybe Jackie Young wouldn't have, but someone else would have. Jackie Young, as someone from Indiana who I have a feeling at some stage will be back will play for the Indiana Fever. But yeah, it's one of those things where the line between a player getting pissed off and a fan, like, and a fan doing enough to get kicked out, they're not the same line. Like, the fan could have called Jackie Young a bum, for all we know. And Jackie Young could have been pissed off enough that she walked out. or that she wanted the fan gone. And that was like one step too far. Like there could have been a whole bunch of things going on, and then the fan said something that just pissed off Jackie Young enough that she was like, you know what, that's too far. Like, this guy won't shut up, get him out of here. Unfortunately, heckling, most scenarios, is not enough to kick out a fan. But yeah, like, at the same time, it's nothing. Someone said if I was a fan that was framed as possibly saying racially dividing, I would not go back and consider suing. That being said, the fan seemingly was just pissed and left. Like, let's be real. These courtside seats mostly are multimillionaires. If you're heckling a player and you're getting pulled, and by the way, like, I don't like, it's not something that I do. Like, I've sat courtside at WNBA games. I've sat courtside at games. I'm not heckling a player. I've been heckled. It's not fun. It's not fun. When you're there getting heckled by a fan. When you're playing well, it's great because you're shit talking a fan. But if you're playing badly and you're getting heckled, it's not fun. I know Jackie Young was killing it, but still, in most scenarios, it's not fun. No matter what anyone wants to say, like, it's not an enjoyable experience as a player. But unfortunately, it happens. It happens, and you're seeing it now where it's like, it now seems like, oh, fans heckling is now a arrestable offense. And I'm like, come on now. It's getting a little bit ridiculous now. And they're like, oh, Fever fan's bad. Like, the media is posting all this about a Fever fan being removed from the games. Man, a Fever fan got spat on 3 games ago. There are more articles about a fan who heckled a player than there is about a fan who spat on somebody. And by the way, I get it. I don't think a fan spitting on another fan is grounds for mainstream media to write an article. That being said, if you're going to do that, if you're going to write an article about a heckling fan and then ignore a fan you have to write about a fan getting spat on. Because, again, one is pushing the narrative that's only one fans that are bad. Heckling fans happen everywhere. It's just unfortunate that, well, they should happen everywhere. But it's like Golden State fans heckle every single player. You've got pods heckling players. You've got fans booing everybody. And they've no issue with Golden State because Indy bad. Who said Fever fans have been way more toxic? No, they haven't. I'm telling you this. No, they haven't. There's just more of them. They're all equally as toxic. Every extreme fan base is equally as toxic. I get a death threat a month. Like, I get a death threat somewhere a month. My business email spam is just 80% people insulting me. But, like, it happens. It's wrong. Obviously, it's wrong. It's not something that unfortunately you have to deal with. I've been called every insult under the sun. I've had genuinely everything bad that could be said to somebody has been said to me. It's sports, and there's just more Fever fans. It's as simple as that. There's just more of them. That's all I'm going to say. There's just more of them. They're all, like, again, when I posted I was at Game 3 of the finals in 2025, I literally got a text. I got a DM on Twitter saying I wasn't making it out of that arena alive. Like, it is. And then as soon as I went onto Twitter, I'm not going to lie, I still made sure to walk out with a big group of people, go to the first bar I saw, walk in a massive group, go to the first bar I saw, because no one's going to kill me in a group of people. And then waited there for an hour and a half, got an Uber, and walked straight into the Uber. Let's be real. But, like, I clicked on the Twitter page, and the Twitter page was located in fucking Nigeria. So I'm like, obviously that was fake. The problem is that when there are 17,000 fans in an arena versus 4,000 fans in an arena, there's a 75% greater chance that someone's going to heckle you. There's a 75% greater chance someone's going to heckle you. Because there are so many more people. But yeah. It's a it is what it is. The fans obviously did something that was bad enough to piss off a player and not bad enough to get kicked out, which, by the way, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. There are so many things that will piss off a player but not be enough to kick someone out of a game. It's just the problem. It's not a problem. It's just life. It's just ball. But yeah. It's a little bit of a pity. But sure, look, it is what it is. Wait until there's a team in Philly. Yes. I forgot about that. Wait till there's a team in Philly. Oh my God, these players. Send Caitlin Clark there and see what happens. Like, they sent Caitlin Clark to Indiana of all places. Like, could you imagine if Caitlin Clark went to Golden State, or Caitlin Clark went to fucking Texas, or if Caitlin Clark was in Philly or New York? Oh my God. That you would have the Knicks fans after you. Madness. Madness. I mean, the fan definitely said something pretty bad. People were pissed off, but like, again, there is pretty bad versus the there's pretty bad versus bad enough to kick a fan out and spend $1,000 on a ticket. They're two very different things. Yeah, players get death threats from not hitting their unders. It's Caitlin Clark's fault. It's Caitlin Clark's fault. They'll wait until it's after a Fever game. And they'll always only complain to social media. They're not going to complain to law enforcement. They're not going to try getting done. They'll just complain to social media. Look, the Fever have to do one thing, though. Like, it is right now one of those things where I don't think there's any more questions about what the Fever should or should not be doing. I think you have to do one of two things. You have to, first of all, potentially sign Breanna Delaney Hamilton. Like, you have to sign Breanna Delaney, because I'm going to be real here. The Indiana Fever don't have a single good defender. And she's not what she used to be. She used to be all defensive. And she's not that anymore. But she's at least competent. If she's on the floor at the end of that game, she at least understands where she's standing on the floor. As well as that, there are other players. So if you don't know with the Fever are going to have the money to sign another player. And for me, if BLH becomes available, you can get her. There are options. And I'll talk about that in another video. There's also the World Cup going on. So you can start looking at seeing who's playing well on what team, who's looking like a good defender. And there's also a player that I kind of like for the Fever to bring in. Again, I'll talk more about this later on, but is Aerial Powers feels like a player to bring in. Like, They have to solve that wing position. And for me, aerial powers, I think she's a better option than keeping Lexi. Like, she averaged on last season 9 points per game for the Fever on pretty okay shooting. And in the postseason, again, didn't really play much, didn't do much, but I'm like, I wouldn't hate this. Steal Maddie Westbell from Chicago. There are a lot of options here, but they got to do something, and they don't need to rush. It is the 7th of August. They have realistically a month to do it. And the problem is now where it's like, if you're the Fever when it comes to BLH, if she doesn't clear waivers, like the Mystics could sign her tomorrow. They have the cap space. They could sign her tomorrow. And if she's gone, cool. I just think the Indiana Fever, they're not going to win the size battle. They're not going to win with their bigs. It's a real question of, it's like, do you sign, do you go and sign a big and wait until after the World Cup? Because there's no big that exists that is available as a free agent today that is going to improve your team. You go into the World Cup and Amari and Badian might be hooping, or Emma Messiman might be available to come over for a month. And then you can kind of sort out your big position because you have that free agency money. That being said, the Lynx also do. So you're competing with Minnesota. Oh, sorry, they don't. They signed Hamzova for the year. Like, if you look at the roster tracker on some of these teams, like, depending on how Alex Wilson's playing, you might be looking like, okay, she didn't fully make the Liberty roster, but she might be someone that can come in and play. If you're looking at Czechia, it's trying to see is like, who's playing well, who's stepping up, and do they have someone other than Emma Chikova that can run the big position? For France, they've got so many players here. But players that I'd be interested in seeing how they get on if you're the Fever is, someone said the new dev is KK and more offense, the new dev is not KK. Like, first of all, I'm keeping an eye on Sarah Cisse and Risa Shea's sister, just purely because they're draft picks next year and they might fall in Fever range. But I'd be looking at seeing how Miniatore is doing as a wing. How, what's her name? How Badian gets on. Because I think Badian could fucking start for the Fever at the 4. Genuinely. Whoever plays in the wings. And there's a couple of other teams, it's like, you're not going to be able to get Kubai because the Atlanta Dream still hold their rights, but there are players on these teams where if you are the Fever, you can start looking at them. Like, obviously, I wouldn't sign Sebuzun, but you never know looking at Turkey. Could you convince to come in Elena Buenavida to come over as a wing? Because I know she's a little bit undersized, but you know what? At least you've got one. She comes over this year. She's got one less year on her reserve free agency. She might come over. Other players I'd be interested in on this team are is taking a look, consider for a 3-month thing. Can you get Alba Torrens to come over? Like, that would be an interesting one. So if we're being real here, I'm watching a lot of these, and the Indiana Fever have to do something. And the ideal one is like, just sign Benai Shalani. Like, that is the easiest thing there. Is that they pretty, like, it's a cut and dry, this is an easy one. This is how we can very, very evidently, like, just make this whole situation better with the Fever. Because you're in a rough spot, because there's 2 key positions. As much as I like KK, we saw in overtime, for whatever she brings, her inability to shoot is a negative. I do like a lot of what KK brings, though. And I've actually been very impressed. Saying Messman doesn't suit with pace offense. I agree and I disagree. I think she much improves him in the half court, and she's a big and she's obviously worse in the full court, and that's why I think she shares minutes with a KK. I think at different stages of the game, she's gonna be brilliant. I'm gonna be on. This will be fully up in about 10 minutes, but I'm only on for another 5 minutes. But yeah, look, it's a thing where the Fever have two players. Two things they really need, and it's a 4, or it's a backup 4-5, and they need a replacement for Lexi because Lexi's not good enough. She's not good enough, and I feel like it's a lot easier to replace Lexi than replace a backup 4-5 because unless Marion Badian wants to come over, I don't know. But the worst thing that the Fever can do is bring in genuinely the worst thing they can do is bring in a quick fix big on a rest of the season contract and not wait till the World Cup. And then as soon as the World Cup hits, then you go and sign somebody. But again, till before the World Cup, there's going to be at least one player that's WNBA rotation level piece at the World Cup. The problem is if you sign before the World Cup, you're probably not getting that unless it's a wing. So yeah, that's the video. I am going to hop off right now. Thank you guys. We only lost 10 subscribers in that stream. I thought